Oh, thank you for the follow, Sam. I appreciate it. All right, so this is my biggest challenge every time is I keep forgetting to bring the photo up before we get on. And then I can't always find the photo that I had originally used because these I started quite a few weeks ago. So I'm gonna go in and find my reference photo so that I can finish up this second phase of like this refining phase of these sketches. Hey Natabug, good morning. Oh, Sam, thank you for joining the Inky crew and getting your heart me. I appreciate it. Yeah, Sam, so I started this back to basics practice for myself and to hold myself. Panda, good morning. How are you, Natabog? Um I started this basic drawing practice like I'm a beginner. So I brought it here so I could hold myself accountable to doing it. So then we ended up in this place where we're collectively sharing information in terms of what other folks know, what other folks have learned, what I'm doing, step by step walking through. So it ends up being a pretty nice space, and the music is an important part of it. So again, if you feel like just the music alone is something that you want to hang out and listen to, feel free to join us. So folks like the folks that have been here with me before know that I welcome any questions. So feel free to drop questions in the chat. And yeah, I am just looking for my image so that I can finish refining this one. You pulled muscles in your side. Oh no, I hope you're like laying down, not a bug, and you don't have to do anything today. Because it's the weekend and I hope you have tomorrow off at least. Um, good. And I hope you have tomorrow. Michelle, good morning. I hope you have tomorrow off, not a bug. All right, y'all. So you can see here this style. When I'm saying a like basic shape layout, this is what I started with a multitude of like objects and stuff. So now I'm going through and you'll see here that I'm using the red to refine that sketch, so something like this was a perfectly round circle. We end up in the place where now it more accurately reflects what the reference photo has. And the thing that I always try to remind folks is that this is a practice to build skill, to build muscle memory, to get ourselves to the place where we're observing an object, person, whatever it is, our reference in a way that we're breaking it down into shapes to make it simple to get it down on paper and then refining. But at the end of the day, once you start down this path of practice and getting um and making more marks, you start to realize that there are certain things that you love about the way different tools make marks, the way different media makes marks, and you start to expand what you're working on and develop a style that works for you. Um, I always try to remind folk. I know lots of folks love like super realistic work, but that doesn't have to be a style. You fall where you 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 put out into the world what you prefer to put out into the world in terms of style. This is just one of those ways to start building that muscle of putting the marks on the paper in a way that feels approachable. Because I think a lot of people see finished work and are like, I would never be able to do that. But in fact, you could do that if you broke it down into steps. So, anyway, you get the point of what I'm saying. I could ramble on and on about this. And one of the reasons I am rambling is I can't find this board. Y'all, I'll tell you this, I'm awake. I've been awake for a couple hours at least, but I don't know. My brain isn't. Here we go. So this is simplify and add the details later. Right, Panda. Um, and Panda, this I always feel like is more for. I'm not saying anyone else can benefit from it, but I always feel like it's more for folks that um potentially potentially are restarting a practice after many years away, folks that are completely new to this, folks that may not have even have thought to themselves, oh, I would love to be able to draw, but feel intimidated by finished work that they see. It's one of those things where I'm just like, this is something that can be approached in steps, and the whole that concept of, like, taking small bites of something to be able to accomplish, um so it becomes an approachable practice that folks can dive into, and there's a point where the thing I also try to remind folks of is just like learning anything else. There is a point where you don't need to or want to use your guidelines. There's a point where your initial sketch is going to start here versus with the simple shape, because you're processing that all already in your head because you've built that muscle. So, again, it's just one of these ways that I am dialing myself back to be able to create some new and to create a new fresh perspective for myself, but inadvertently it has become this space where I'm like, y'all, if you really want to do this and you've never done it before, there's a way to approach it that will work for the way your brain works, so anyway, good morning, Jason. Thank you for joining us. How are you this morning? Michelle, thanks for getting your heart me. All right, y'all. So just I'm going to be head down a little bit. Thank you, Sam. I appreciate it. I'm going to be head down a little bit, refining the basic shapes, adding, rounding and curves in areas where they need to have them, where I that wasn't captured in that initial part of the sketch. So again, you can see that build up. So this is this, and I am. Feel free to ask questions. Drop them in the chat. And we are. I'll get going. Sorry, you can't see me looking over here. Dr. Dimples, good morning. Welcome. I'm looking in two places at my list of folks that are in the room, and TikTok Live Studio always has some kind of discrepancy for me that is like, what's happening here? I'm freaking out. So, and y'all tell me if the view, how the view looks, if the quality of the video, tell me, because what I see is not always what you see. So let me know if what you're seeing is messy. I had a problem the other day, and it was with Live Studio. So again, if anything seems off, just drop it in the chat too. Feel free. All right. Okay, so I had started here and then stopped yesterday. So I'm now looking at this little whatever this is. This whatever this vessel is used for. There's some detail here that I didn't capture in that initial shape because I just threw down rectangle shape with like a semicircle thing going on here. So now I'm going to address some of that. So here you'll see that there's curve and an additional like a lip here with actually an indentation in this that I can start to add that refining of the detail with that indentation here. So I'm going to do that. You said in our class you're doing this right now, and you've been getting a lot of videos about it since. I mean, that's how those things work, right? I don't know how to pronounce your emojis there, friend, but that's how it works. Um, that is definitely how it works. So again, I'm taking things slowly. I'm not rushing. It's a practice that I'm not looking for perfection. I'm looking for that rhythm to build the muscle. So I'm just looking at this and seeing where there are additional details that I can address. And this, I'm not, this is the basic outline still. It's the second phase of refinement of the sketch, so it's still basic outline. I'm not addressing any kind of shading or any kind of adding of value to create form right now. I'm just addressing more of the outlines still. So there's a curve here that's happening. We have a straight line across here, but there's curving happening here. So I'm going to just create a slight curve there to address that. And now we went from what was Janice Terry Banks, welcome in. Joyce Smith, welcome in. um, what was a basic rectangle to adding a little bit more of the curve detail, that kind of thing in here. And I already, the hardest part about this practice for me is I'm trying to do this like I'm a beginner, like I don't know steps ahead. And I want to make these adjustments as I'm going, but I have to remind myself that this is practice, and when I'm not looking for perfection in a practice. I'm looking for every time I do another round of something, I'm getting better at it. So already yesterday I was yapping and I put my my what the hell is this called? Y'all, my brain is not, today's not a good day. My spherical shape thing here. And I could have made it a lot larger than I did here. But again, practice. If I was to go back and run this same play for um the same still life, you would see that you're getting better and better at it if you run that same play again. Um, Again, we did this for weeks. The still life ones were the original ones I did. I did building facades, all that. So if folks were with me, you saw that. Now there is some shadow detail in here that will get added at some point to add an additional layer of definition here that I'm not going to address right now because we're still in that simple shapes place. Oh yeah, my screen time report just came through. Let me do not disturb. I don't want to see anything like that again. That's scary. All right, so I'm going to move on now to this vessel. Um, this one, if you see here, if I even start in here, these when I identified a basic shape here, you're looking at trapezoid. No corners are addressed here. There's an additional flare out that's happening here that I didn't address in that first round. But that was the intent. Um it was supposed to be super basic and just building that practice of identifying the shape. So now I'm going to go in and following that original kind of outline, I'm going to add the curve now in a little bit more. Try to follow that contour and get that curve in now. I'm going to add that additional piece up here. But I'm going to come down here, and here you can see it's not a sharp edge, but it's not a full curve. So I'm going to just do a slight curve there so that it's not like a super sharp edge, but I also don't want to lose what this actually is here. Now down here, that's our end of our bottle here, and you see that the curve comes from behind that persimmon. So what I was saying yesterday is, and you'll notice I did it here, this juncture of the curve here, you can approach this any way you see fit. You can just go ahead and follow the line here to create your curve. But what I have found sometimes that makes things potentially easier is if I, even though this is not going to show, if I take that line all the way down and start my curve at the edge of the bottle and extend the curve, then I get a more accurate curve here. Versus sometimes I know this for myself is I tend to, if I was to do a partial curve, I might tilt the curve up a little bit more than it should, you know. Good morning, Stella. How are you? Thank you for joining. Thank you for sharing the live. Thank you for getting your heart me. I appreciate you. I'm doing well, thank you. I'm doing well. No complaints. I'm a little bit slow this morning, but I think I'll get warmed up soon. You said you love painting still life. Well, Stella, I'll tell you this. I don't know if I love painting still life, but I definitely still life is a great way. Where I'm doing beginner drawing exercises for myself and sharing. Charlene Gutierrez, welcome in. Thank you for joining us. I'm sorry I didn't see when you joined. Thank you for joining. You do oils. Nice, Stella. That sounds awesome. So I'm doing some beginner drawing exercises, and so I've been building out objects. I started with still life. I've been building out objects with an initial basic shape sketch, and now I'm going through all those sketches as a second round of practice and adding some additional refinement of that sketch with curves and that kind of thing. Yeah, so we're really sitting in a beginner phase of the sketching process and really just trying to go deep with each piece of the practice. Um, so you're far ahead of where we are. You're far ahead of where we are. All right, y'all. So I am now going to add in this little bit of a curve that extends out still more from the top here. And I'm taking it slowly, right? So I don't have to pay too close attention to like size measurement and stuff because I really have a lot of that part of it already addressed from that initial shape. That's how I approached it this time. So now I can zoom into my image and try to address some of these additional lines that might be here. There's a slight sphere that I need to put in here. Um, there are, and I'm going to draw some slight curved lines here, very light, because some of this detail here with these lines will get addressed when we're dealing with like the shading. However we choose to shade this, whether we're using hatching, cross hatching, shading, stippling, however we're adding using the value to create some form here. However we get that done, that will be addressed here. But I'm just throwing these in to just give us a sense of some of the additional detail that's there. And you see that there. Hey, Dream Artist 1964. How are you? Charlene, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. How are you doing this morning? Sneakers 1992. Good morning. Steve, good morning. How are you? All right, folks. Now let's get to the persimmons. I'm not excited about the persimmons, y'all. But especially because my brain isn't on 100% right now. Y'all, I'm already seeing a little bit of a slight symmetry discrepancy there. So I'm going to throw a little bit of a detail in there. That gives me a little bit more. Ooh, Baking Bake ZT, Dream Artist. Is that like, what time is it where you are? I was about to be like, is that like Sunday dinner early? But I don't know where you are. So, or I don't remember. If you've told me before, I don't remember. 9:30. Oh, all right. Are you do you like meal prep on Sundays for like the week? Like make when I say meal prep, not necessarily like healthy meal prep, but like get meals ready for the week. You're in northern New York. I think we have full fuke full fukes. Y'all, I told you my brain is not warmed up yet. A full fukes. A few folks in northern New York. I went to um I went to college in, I wouldn't say northern New York, but north of the city. Not so far up. We were all sick over Christmas, so we are getting together today. Oh, that's awesome, Dream Artist. That's awesome. I love that. So you're getting together for the family celebration because you didn't get to have it over the holiday. Oh, I like that. That is awesome. Big ZT sounds delightful, actually, right now. I need to think about what my dinner situation is gonna be today. Oh yeah, I was using y'all. I said this yesterday, and hopefully none of y'all were in here with me when I said it, because you might be tired of hearing me saying it. Hey, Lighthouse. Good morning. I don't know how to explain to y'all how excited I am that I sharpened this pencil down to this little tiny nub. So I've been using. So I buy these double, the vermilion and the Prussian blue pencil. I buy these double pencils in boxes. I think 24 coming up. It might be 12. I have to double check. But I've been so consistently doing this practice. I start with the initial blue for that lighter sketch. Y'all, I've been consistently doing this practice with the pencil. That look at that little tiny blue that's left there. And my red is heading down that road too. I know it's silly, y'all, but I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud of of doing this practice in a way that got my pencil down to this baby knob here. Thank you, Panda. I was like, y'all are like, lady, keep drawing, please. Eric, welcome in. Thank you for joining. But you get the point of what I'm saying, y'all. And thank you for the follow, Eric. You're like, lady, keep going. All right. So now when we get to the persimmon piece, so this is another thing that I'll point out, y'all. This when you talk about practice, and I mean I know I might be preaching to the choir in terms of practice and those types of things and what that means in terms of progress. But when I started the practice again, I started with these basic still life, right? And then we went on to building facades, simple building facades, moved on to more in-depth building facades, not addressing perspective at all. We just threw down shapes and got this depth, right? So interesting take on it or look at it. Then we went to like boats and cars. I'm telling y'all right now, as I am looking at these initial ones that I put down, I know that if I did this again after doing the practice for so many weeks again, my accuracy would have been even better on these because I'm already immediately seeing identifying where I could have done a different kind of thing with the shape that would have gotten me more accurate, if that makes sense. Good morning, China. How are you? Good morning, Nika Grace. Welcome, welcome, welcome. China, thank you for the follows and for getting your heart me. Nika Grace, thank you for the heart me and for the Go Popular. Lighthouse, thank you for my heart me and my Go Popular. I don't know if you're still in here, Lighthouse. So, just an interesting thing to talk about in terms of practice. And again, I know I might be preaching to the choir. So here, the initial shape that I laid down was a little bit of a like an ellipse, not quite a circle, but more of an ellipse shape. That's the word I've been looking for. I keep saying sphere, but the word I was looking for is ellipse. Anyway, I told y'all my brain. So now I'm going to follow that initial shape, but I am going to add the slight differences in the detail. So if I look here, so if I start right at that middle, I have a little bit of a join in here, and y'all, you know how they use a peach to symbolize, hey Gordo, good morning. You know how they use a peach to symbolize a booty? This is a little, look at that. It's a little bit similar there, that there's a curve here, that then there's a slight indentation. So I'm going to follow those lines and get my that refinement in terms of the sketch, just so this, we know it's not a perfect sphere, but that initial assessment of the shape put us here. So now we'll add a little bit more detail. So if I look at this whole thing, this slight indentation here actually falls almost right smack in the middle of this side. So I'm going to kind of find that point here and add just a slight curve more where it's a little bit more rounded up here, and then it comes in a little bit here. And y'all, these are slight differences, but it's so much easier to identify and drop down the slight difference because you have, I'm going to stop here because of this, I don't know what the top of that part is called on a persimmon. So I'm doing that. And then here, I'm not going to go in here with any line detail. I'm cutting out for you Folks, am I cutting out? Is my fire rain? Thank you for joining and thank you for the follow. Thank you for the friendship necklaces, Nika Grace. Folks, am I cutting out my audio? So here again, I'll throw down a slight line here just to memorialize a little bit this indentation, but y'all, this will get addressed with when we start doing whatever type of value put down it, whether it's shading, hatching, cross hatching, whatever we decide to use here. All right, Dream, I think I know what the problem is. I'm just going to make I have to create some friction on this on the connection for the mic. That helped the last time until I get my audio situation better. Joa Swimmer, welcome in. All right, now let me plug this back in. If I can find the... All right, I think that's a little bit better, at least for the rest of the live. All right, here again. There's a little bit more of a bump here than is in that initial part of the sketch. So I will get that thrown down here too. All right, that doesn't feel too bad to me. Some slight indentations so that it looks a little bit more persimmon-y. So again, I'm in this place where I'm just doing an initial basic outline sketch. So I'm just addressing this little bit of, yeah, I don't know what these parts of the persimmon are called, that piece that's on top. I'm just throwing down a little bit of shape there to address it, because for me, I'll do some refining a little bit more in the next phase. Here, oh, this one is a good one where we have some bubble shape going on here that we can address to take it a little bit further from just this piece of a sphere that we have here. Paul, good morning. Black Lotus, thanks for getting your heart me, Black Lotus. Nika Grace, thank you for the friendship necklaces. Do I sound better, y'all? Am I still cutting out? Dream, you were saying that is when I moved. I hope that the sound is a little bit better. Thanks for getting your heart me, Paul. Black Lotus, I missed you. I was looking for you yesterday on live too. All right, y'all. So I am going to just give this a little bit of a bubble here because that's what we're looking at. It's a little bit more of a bubble shape than I have here. And there's y'all, it's very, very slight. Not as much. All right, Dream. I mean, if it's not causing too many issues and making the experience too unbearable, I'm not going to fight it too much. I'm just going to keep going. Y'all let me know when it becomes like something that is taken away from the experience. Let's put it that way. So if you see here, there's a very slight bump out. So I am actually going to just get a very slight bump out here. Again, round that up just a little bit more. Bring it, if I bring this down a little bit, and I'm doing a basic shape here, just for this, again, I gotta look up what that's called on these fruit. Because persimmons, it's this, tomatoes have that thing. It's like leaves, I know, but is that what it is on the persimmon? It's just dried here. Y'all, I'm overthinking this. I know it. So, all right, there we go. Again, some of this bulbous form will get addressed when we get to a shading phase, right? So right now I'm focusing mostly on the lines, mostly on the outlines. So that is our one step up refinement. Oh, you're good, Dream. You are good. We don't want that big ZT burning. Black Lotus. Hello, my friend. All right, we have everybody. All right, y'all. So that's another one down. Now let me see if I can find this one or find one of the others that I did, because somehow I realized that I wasn't saving the still life ones like I was saving the buildings, and I don't know how I managed that. So I'm just trying to figure out. Oh, here we go. Here's one. This is this one. So good. At least I didn't have y'all waiting for too long. Hello, Allison. How are you? And y'all, let me know if how are you? Molly, thank you for the follow. Welcome. Y'all, I feel like I've been here for such a long time and I don't know why. Okay, sorry about that, y'all. Okay, so now we have this. So you see this one has a lot more curves than we had laid down. Oh, Molly, thank you for being here. I appreciate you and thank you for the follow. Um, Thank you for the additional friendship necklaces, Nika Grace. All right, y'all. So I'm going to start with the bottle here, and again, you can see this is quite a curve. Let me see if I bring it closer because it's all white. You might not see some of the edges that well. You see, this is quite a curvy bottle here. Let me bring this light down too. Maybe you'll see it. There's not much contrast, of course, because the background is also white. But you see there's quite a bit of curvature on this bottle that I did not address in that initial phase. But now we have our basic shape laid down from before, and now I can address that curve, the curve on the bottle. So D, welcome in. Thank you for joining. Maybe welcome in. Thank you for joining. Yeah, I have everyone. All right, y'all. So I am now going to, and y'all, the other thing to tell me is whether or not you can see what I'm doing, because sometimes I don't do the placement precisely, and what I look at here happens to be slightly wider than what you have. Actually, you know what I need to do? I keep forgetting that TikTok Live Studio has a mobile preview. So it is a lot more accurate. It might not be precisely accurate of what you all see. So I'm generating that so I can make sure that what I'm doing is being shown. All right, so this shape, this bottle, let me get it off that. it starts to taper from down here. So about halfway up, it starts to taper. So I am going to address that in my refine. Now it's not a significant taper. So I'm not going to take it super far in, but I am going to take that second refine line a little bit up. And then my curve starts to happen. And then this curve here. And then this is now a straight line. It doesn't really flare at the top. So I'm not going to do any crazy flare at the top. I'm going to just run this all the way up. And now the trick will be to do the same thing on the other side. Yeah, Charlene. Y'all, I don't know what to do. Let me see if I can add some more static so it doesn't keep glitching, but otherwise, I don't know what else to do right now to fix it. I can try to make sure that my cord isn't twisted too much, because it does have something to do with the cord and the connection. So I'm trying to add a little bit of like static and stuff to the connection so that it's better. But otherwise, y'all, I will tell you, if it's causing you a strain, I won't be happy. But if you've got to, I don't want to waste the whole live trying to solve the audio problem, because it's a problem I've had before and I know it's tricky. So hopefully this is a little bit better. All right, now on this side, I'm just going to try to replicate the line, the curve here, the taper away from the edge. All right, now I feel pretty decent about the curve, you know, I feel pretty decent here about that curve that I put down. So I did it fairly lightly. So I will go over it a little bit, because now I feel super confident, right? I've put down that initial set of line curve. I feel good about it. I feel good about, I mean, it's not perfect symmetry, but I feel fairly decent about this now. Now that I looked at it, I'm like, oh, it's really not perfect. But again, we're good. And then I'm going to just address the slight curve up here. Oh, you know what? Y'all, I keep forgetting to do this. I've been erasing my initial blue lines because I had made the blue lines super dark in the initial sketches, because I was going over them so much because I was showing them on screen. So I tried to start erasing them before I start doing the red line, so that you can see the red line better. And I just realized, I'm like, why can't I see the red line more pronounced? It's because I didn't do that initial erase of the blue. So now my red line will show up. Hey, Luna, good morning. Christina, good morning. How are you this morning? Luna, thank you for getting your heart me. Black Lotus, thank you for the friendship necklaces. All right, y'all. Now, there we go. You can see the red outline now a little bit better. All right, there we go. So we went from this like basic shape, rectangle, trapezoid, another rectangle, sharp edges to add in some curve. And now we have a like a better representation of the bottle that's actually here. Luna, you leveled up. Y'all, I have so many windows here. Where's my cheers? Congratulations on the level up. You leveled up to, wait. Oh, y'all, everything is delayed. I think it's at level 18. Yeah, if anyone else leveled up, definitely let me know. It doesn't always show me the level up. So please, please, please let me know. Good morning, Elle. How are you? Thank you for getting your heart me. Saf, good morning. Welcome in. All right, y'all. So now let's go down to our bowl here. So I have a semicircle. I have a semicircle here for the Christina. Thank you for getting your heart me. I have a semicircle here for the top part of the bowl as one of my basic shape lay down. So I am going to go ahead and use that to start the ellipse. I'm going to use that to guide this ellipse that I'm going to put on the top of the bowl here to refine the sketch. And to give myself some curve on either side to give myself this opening here. I'm going to use this as a guide. Now I'm really using it as a guide because this side of the ellipse is shorter than this side. So I really want to try to capture that as accurately as possible. So I'm going to use the basic shape that of course I had already outlined. All right, y'all. So I'm taking it slow because practice. I'm not trying to rush. I am actually going to bring this down a little bit shorter. I'm taking it slow. I'm getting myself a curve here. I'm leaning. I'm taking this curve a little bit further down than where that straight line was. And there we go. I feel fairly decent about this. Wait, yeah, I took the light down so you all could see this, but I can barely see it. Anyway, you can see here that it is fairly close to what's going on here. Now, if we look at it like this feels like it, of course, we just have a upside down trapezoid thing going on here for our basic shape. There's quite a bit of curve that I need to put in here because the curve, again, this is where we're going to pay attention to this curve. The bulk of this curve sits right underneath that, I don't know what you call that, the lip of the bowl. Yeah, I don't know the words. But or this morning my brain just doesn't have the words. So I'm going to do it one side at a time. And if I look at this, I can see that my curve here, and then it tapers down. So I'm going to follow this line, but I'm going to add in that curve. So let's see if I'm trying to look at it so I can follow the curve. Take it slow. So it bulks out a little bit here, but then it actually comes in pretty, sharply down there. This might not be perfect, but it's more accurate than a straight line there. So I'm going to kind of try to do the same thing over here. so it matches more over here. Yeah, I'm not doing the best job with this, but that's practice. All right, so could I have done this probably a little bit more bulbously? Probably, but I feel good about that. I'll leave that there. And then now there's a tiny curve here that I need to address, and we'll get that down. And there we go. That much more accurately represents curvature now that we got our that we got our curves in around our straight lines that were our initial drop down. So I'll do that now with the cup thing going on here. I'll do a similar thing that we had with the bowl. It's just that there's a lot more height here because it's a cup. Oh, y'all, I think, let me reset the goal. It's so much better than you know. When you're lost, you're alone. Oh, oh, I am here to dry your eyes. Okay, y'all. Now I reset the goal and we can get back to business. You know me better than that. Varies for SWWW. Welcome in. Thank you for joining us. Oh, Christina, thank you for the hi bear. Oh, L. Is L still here? I didn't even see. Thank you for the donut and the finger heart, L. All right, y'all. So now, similar thing. I'm going to address the sphere at the top um, of the cup. I am going to take it a little bit down from the semicircle that I have here. Let me make sure y'all can see this. I'm taking it a little bit down from the semicircle because the height that I put on that I don't think is as accurate as I would like it to be. I'm not putting too much of a curve here because it doesn't have a super duper curve. But just like I was mentioning before, I'm going to take the sketch through each other, even though the bowl covers that part, just so that I can get I can maintain consistency with that curve. China, did that just say that you leveled up, friend? Is that what I saw? Something blinked with you, China. I think you leveled up. Did you level up, China? Thank you for the go popular, friend. Let's give you cheers. Even if it wasn't a level up. These are cheers for you, my friend. You are here with me all the time. You was like, I don't know, LeeAnn. You got some cheers anyway. That's for you, friend. Whether you leveled up or not. Adrian De La Rosa, welcome in. Thank you for joining us. All right, so y'all see that there is a curve here, and that curve, the bump of the curve is actually more towards the center. So I'm going to try to get that accurately down here. Kind of more like that, right? Same thing on this side. Oh, yeah, I just took that wild over there. I could leave it, but I'm going to actually erase that little bit there, because it will drive me a little crazy. So I'm erasing it. All right, I took that bump there, and same thing here, a slight curve on our bottom here. Y'all, I'm getting so many of them done. Which, you're welcome, China. Which, hey, Diana, good morning. How are you? Which, frankly, I'll tell you, is a little bit of a testament to. Oh, thank you for the follow, Adrian. I appreciate it. Um, oh, glad to hear that, Diana. Thank you for. Oh, Adrian, thank you for joining the Inky Crew and getting your heart me. Diana, thank you for getting your heart me. Adrian, thank you for the hi bears. I appreciate you. All right, y'all. Now it's time to move on to another page of basic shapes. So this, y'all, this is my problem. I said it before. I did a bunch of these that I do want to refine. I was able to find this original reference photo. These, though, y'all, I want to refine these, but I need to find the photos. So let's see if we can do that. Oh, y'all, I need to drink some TikTok. It's water, okay? It's just water. All right, let's see. I'm not going to spend a lot of time looking for them. If anything, I'll move on because for the building facades and for the cars and the boats, I definitely saved those pins. So I know I will be able to find those. But I am going to just spend a minute or two looking for these. So, oh yeah, look at that already. I think this is this. And if it's not, it's close enough. You said you got for your armpit yesterday. China, you gotta give us some more details, some context, something, my friend. What does that even mean? Be easy. Good morning, my friend. This one? Oh, this one you were talking about. This is the one I just did. Now I'm doing this one. This is my original shape outline of this picture. That was the one that was on top of it was the same picture that I was doing before. You said why this and this looks like the same picture? This is the original like sketch of this one. So if it looks like the same, it looks like almost the same. I didn't do such a bad job. Is that what you're saying? Be easy. Thank you for the rose. TT Sasha, welcome in. Thank you for joining. Oh, so China, yeah, they are the same, and I wasn't sure at first, and then I was like, wait a minute, I think this is the same one because for some reason with the still life ones, I didn't actually save the pins. I don't think. I was confused. It's been weeks since I drew the original one, so I was like, I don't know, but this looks close enough to me. I think it is the same. So we just gonna refine it based on this. It is the same one. You can see it. I drew circles for the apples because that's the basic shape, but as we refine it, you'll see that I'm going to taper in some side here to get more of an accurate representation of the contour there. But it made it so much easier because I started with that basic shape. You were gaming in a box yesterday. Oh, is that how you got for your armpit? Coach Rhonda Shops. Good morning. Welcome. How are you? Oh, you were laying. So, did you have your arm like this, or were you laying on the arm on the side? You had your arm out like this the whole time. So, when you say all this is hurting you right now, is that what you're saying, China? Because I can feel that. Oh my God, with you, I can't. All right, y'all. So you see that there's a pretty nice round butt of a curve up here that we'll address. This line remains a straight line, so we don't mind that. Our curve actually happens right here. So we'll add that curve in right there. This one was pretty easy because Coach Rhonda, thank you for the heart me and for the high bears. You said I wasn't even doing all that. I mean, I'm trying to interpret you got for your armpit. What do you think I'm gonna do? You know I'm an old lady. Coach Rhonda. Coach Rhonda, I'm gonna send you a message. You know what I'm actually going to do? I'm going to create some more formal like videos and drop them in. Hey, Urban Eye Candy, how are you? Coach Rhonda, you it would have helped you. Let me show you what I've been doing. So for the folks that are newer in the room, for the folks outside the room, come on in, but I will tell you what's going on. So we have been for the last few weeks, we have been doing basic, we've been using different kinds of objects and we've been identifying the basic shapes in objects and laying them down in different ways, but in proximity and like in relation and like size proportion to each other as the basic shape. We did simple still life. We started doing building facades, and then we even went into some building facades that had depth. We didn't address perspective. All this was identifying shapes, laying down the shapes in proximity to each other and in proportion to each other. And now we went on to cars and boats. So simple, simple, simple. So now we're going through and I'm saying I'm doing, folks are here with me. Now we're doing the next phase of refining the sketch. Where now, when we go back to our reference photo, we're seeing something like this where there's a curve here. Let's drop that curve in. You can see here, we went from rectangle, trapezoid, rectangle. Oh, I'm not showing, I'm pointing, but I'm not showing it. Rectangle, trapezoid, rectangle. Now we dropped in curves. You see the curves and the slight variations there. Coach Rhonda, I'm going to send you a message about something that I'm working on. Oh, y'all. So now with this photo, we see this battle is much easier because there is very little taper in the up and down. Where we see the curve is right where the trapezoid is. So I can just address that curve in my second go around, create it there. Now I'm not going further because guess what? Right here is not a sharp corner. There's a curve there. So the curve will take us, I'm just going to follow the line and take the curve like this. Hit our straight up still, because that's a straight up and down here as well. There's an additional lip that we need to add here, but still we're in a good spot. Now, I already know that this is not like, it's not centered, it's not symmetrical, perfectly symmetrical, but this is practice, y'all. The next go around when you do it, it gets better. So I'm going to take my straight line down. I'm keeping my straight line. Doing this, I'm just trying to replicate this now over here. It's a bottle, so technically it's supposed to be symmetrical. But remember, y'all, we're not giving ourselves a hard time for this right now because we're practicing this. And the next time you would do this, you would do this a little bit more accurately. So create the curve here again, and now throw down my refine line all the way down. Now the other thing that we'll do is, it's a bottle, y'all. This one actually has less of a curve on the base than others do, but that is not a perfectly straight line down there. So I'm going to address this slight curve. And like I said before, if I have a tendency, even with experience, I have a tendency, if I'm doing a curve in just a short section of like the bottle sits behind the apple. If I was to throw this curve down, I have a tendency to not to match the lift up here with the lift up here. And technically that's not where the lift up would be. So I'm going to take this sketch line all the way down so that I can take my curve all the way across so I can achieve the right angle of the curve here. It's very slight, but if I do it this way, then I'm not lifting my curve up too much here, when that lift up should actually be over here if I was drawing the full bottle shape. So I'm doing that. And that's it. We're done. This will not be here. It's going to get hidden when we move on to the next phases. All right, y'all. Now we got to go to these. Oh, no. Let me do my lip up here. Forgot about that. So now, I don't know why I didn't do this the first time, but we could have done a tiny rectangle here. So I'll pretend that I put a tiny rectangle there the first time. And again, it's a bottle, so we're doing a little bit of a tiny sphere here for an opening. And then we'll just bring a tiny curve here. Same thing. You can't really see it because of how dark the bottle is. But remember, part of this practice is also about practicing the anatomy of objects. And I mean, I know anatomy refers to anatomy, but you get what I'm saying. For a lot of, you'll notice in all of these bottles, we're breaking them down basic shapes, basically the same. Some form of rectangle, some form of trapezoid, some form of rectangle. And even when the bottles have lips on them, the top part can be a tiny, skinny, horizontal rectangle. Comedy 44, thank you for the follow. Thanks for joining us. Dr. A, good morning. How are you this morning? So the thing is, this practice also puts us in a place where we're doing the muscle memory for how these types of objects are broken down too. Because bottles are bottles, y'all. Are there going to be decorative bottles that have all this other stuff? But from a basic shapes perspective, for the most part, things look the same. Fairly, So, all right. So now we have to deal with this apple. These apples, y'all. Let's start with the one over here. Mostly because this one is, let me make sure that I feel like the light is too much. Oh, you did, Dr. A. You're feeling much better today? I'm glad to hear that. So I hope that you're here and you're laying down while you're hanging with us. Coach Rhonda, yes. So, Caroline, Caroline, how come I've not done this before? How come I didn't sing that before all this time? Or did I? It just came to me. How did I not sing for you? I bet you get that all the time. Good morning, Caroline. Thank you for the high beers. Coach Rhonda. Hey, Trisha T. Good morning, Coach Rhonda. Trisha T. I forgot to Oh, is that what I did? Oh, well, now we have a different one. Learning to sew. Thank you for the follow. So, Coach Rhonda, yes. So, not everyone will say that this is the easiest way to do it. I always say to folks, the line practice, creating draw, folks will be like, oh, I don't even know how to draw a straight line. I'm always like, you can practice that. I always say start with the lines, practice your lines, practice drawing lines from different parts of your arm. Focus on drawing from your wrist, drawing from your elbow, drawing from your shoulder, and you'll notice the difference in how your lines lay down with the different places that you focus on drawing from. And then the next phase I would say is Urban Eye Candy, thank you for the heart, me friend, is try to identify the basic shape in the object that you're looking at. Do not, this is easier said than done, right? Don't think of it as a bottle in the beginning. Think of it as what shapes do I see here? Like, look at the apple. An apple is not a perfect circle, but what we are looking at here, if we think about a basic shape, that's as close to a circle as we might get. So for that initial sketch, let's drop down that basic circle. Urban Eye Candy, thank you for the high bears. Trisha, thank you for the high bears, friends. Yeah, with the goal achieving. So Coach Rhonda, if I show you, if we look at and everybody else, if we look at these are shapes. Forget about this was a building facade. We identified shapes. We started with one shape as the primary shape. Montana Art Studio, thank you for the follow. Welcome in and thank you for joining us. We started, thank you for the roses, Montana Art Studio. We identified the initial basic shape to use as the basis for all of the proportion. That could have been whatever you wanted it to be. And then you just start looking for the shapes and dropping them down, whatever you need to do, using a ruler, using your eyeballing, whatever it is, and drop down the shapes next to each other and where they are in relation to each other. And then the next phase of refinement we'll go in and we'll add curves, we'll add the little details, that kind of thing. So, Dr. A, I'm saying initial sketch, such facts you didn't realize that people who draw do so many sketches. So I'll say this to you, Dr. A. Some people will say to you they don't do these many sketches because the more you practice, your initial sketch is probably going to be the secondary refined sketch that I did. The more you practice, this muscle memory of identifying the shapes already in your head is going to get built, and you're going to go straight. Some folks will go straight from, I already placed the rectangle in my head and I'll add the detail. My initial sketch would be this red sketch potentially. I'm not saying you have to do it that way. I'm just saying that's a thing. So there are folks that have been at this for years and years and years who don't do an initial sketch that way. When I do my sketching, I don't start with the basic shapes. I don't not when I'm just doing my regular work. I don't start with laying down basic shapes. Does my brain see the shapes? Yes. But I don't start with laying down basic shapes. So you're talking about practice, years of practice of doing it. And even now when I started this back to basics practice for myself, I found that I had lost the finesse a little bit. And I watched myself get better even at my shapes, even though I'm somebody that has experience. So it's one of those things where that's why you all will always hear me saying, do the practice, and don't feel any kind of way if you need to use tools, if you need to do it this basic way, because you can get from here to this beautiful illustration. The practice part is so important. Yep, that's the thing. Good morning, Feral Mom. How are you? Somebody else came in, I think, and I didn't say hi. No. Well, they might have, but they left. If someone's here and I didn't say hello, drop an emoji in the chat, and so we can say hello. Kikig, thank you for the follow. So yeah, sleepy. You stayed up too late, having fun, I hope. And I hope you're still laying down in the bed watching. Thank you for the heart me, Feral Mom. Hey Tanya, how are you? So again, the practice is the most important. And yes, Dr. A, all these beautiful end products, paintings, all of it start in this initial phase, and there are so many, there are potentially like multiple phases of refining to get to this perfect place. That's why a lot of people also love the digital drawing, because what happens very easily when you're drawing digitally is you can do your build up of sketches and refining in such an easy way, because if I drew this initial shape sketch out um on my iPad, I could just decrease the, you see how I erase that initial blue so it's a little bit lighter, so that next refined mark can show a little bit better. I could have just decreased the opacity of that layer, added another layer, and now I do my refined sketch. And then I could turn off my initial layer of the shapes, and now I only have my refined sketch to work with, and I keep building on that. That's not the only reason, but that's one of the reasons that the digital drawing and the tools for Procreate, Fresco, whatever it is, become so attractive, because it does make it simpler. So now the next, after these red shapes, one of the things I'm going to show y'all is, we're doing this practice traditionally. So one of the things I'm going to show y'all is using either tracing paper or the light box to, now that I have this second level of refinement, I'm going to do a third level, and I probably will use some ink at this point, and then I will do a third level of refining of that initial outline sketch with the light box and with the tracing paper. We'll do that for the full round. But y'all, we're gonna be in red. We're gonna be in red refinement phase for a little while, because we have a bunch of initial sketches that were done. So patience is key at this point. Let's put it that way, because y'all know we're gonna be doing these red marks for a while. All right, now let's look at our apple. Y'all, I have to make this a little bit brighter because I can't see it. I turned the light down so you could see it better, but I can't see it. So if we look at the shape of this apple, this is our initial sketch of it, just a circle I put down here. I'm going to add some of the detail. So you see that this, if I take it from what here is, this is more of a little bit of a corner than I have here, but the line kind of extends out more than I have it here. It also has a little bump here, and then it tapers back in. Oh, y'all, I'm doing that and I'm not showing. It's like watching a building come to life under the scaffolding. I love that. I love that. Yes. It is a little bit like that. Yeah. One, two, three. Welcome in. Thank you for joining. Oh, the painted pose. Hi, Bernade. Thank you for getting your heart me, Bernade. How are you? Bernade, I think I owe you a response to a message, friend, and I forgot. And now that I see you, I remembered. All right. So we have a little bump out. Now, y'all, just like we were doing when we were placing our initial sketches, I'm gonna kind of see in relation to the other shapes, where does that bump out hit? Or even relation to where our circle might be. That bump out hits right at about the center of that circle. So if I was to drop down a line at where the center would be, that kind of gives me a guide of my bump out is going to happen right about here. So now, let me see if I can make sure that y'all can see both. If I'm to follow the some of what's going on here with the shape, I'm tapering this in just a little bit to address right here, just a little bit. And then I'm bumping this out just a little bit past where the edge of that circle is, because we're not talking about a circle anymore. The circle was our baseline. And again, our bump out is right about here, but then our bump out tapers in a little bit. So we're trying to get a little bit more of an accurate representation of the thing that is there. So now y'all, I did the same thing. I did not erase this. So the red line is not as pronounced, but so I'm not erasing again at this point, y'all, sorry. So then we curve in here a little bit, and I'm taking my curve in a little bit more here. And now down here, there's a little bit of a flat line. And I'm taking this up a little bit more. So now we're changing the shape from a circle to more of what's represented here. In fact, I could have come in with a little bit of curve down there. But yeah, remember, this is practice. And if you were to do this again, oh, Feral Mom, of course, I know your weekends are super busy. Have a great day. Have a great day. Oh, the painted pose, you know that I always appreciate the popping. Today I think I will be able to respond to the message. So I will see you. I will check you out later. All right, y'all. So now we have, I already see even a little bit of places I could have put a little bit more curve in, but you get the point of what I'm saying is now your circle turned into more of an accurate representation of what's there. I'm going to do the same thing here. This actually is a little bit more circular looking, but if I look here, this tapers in a little bit, and what sits on the flat line of the table is just a little piece right here. You see that? It's just a little piece that's actually sitting at the straight line. So I'm just going to do that, and then the rest of this tapers up a little bit. See what I'm saying there? This cuts across. Now that you already have the baseline of the circle there, you can pay attention a little bit more to some of this detail. There's a slight bump up right here. And y'all, you would be doing this to see your details. Remember that. I have it down here just so you all can see. This is more of a straight line than a curve there. So I'm going to cut that in at a straight line. And then I'll do a little bit of a curve here, which is what sits there. And now our shape is more of what the actual outline of this is. But you see, it's not that far from what the circle was. And that's the second level. That's the second level of the refinement of this. What was just harsh rectangle, trapezoid, rectangle, and basic circles. That's another level of refinement. Now let me see if I can find these other images and figure out which one I did the initial one of. SFMC, welcome in. OEM Julia, welcome in. Thank you for joining us. All right, y'all. Let's see. Y'all, I'm moving through these a lot faster than I did the blue, which is, it proves some of the points. The practice, yes, but also the initial laydown is such a good foundation that it creates this ease now. I'm not going to say it's easy, but it creates an ease for all the next pieces of the building up of the image. Y'all, I mean, yes, I talk a lot in these lives, so I don't get through everything in the same speed usually, but the initial sketches required a lot more working out. It's like, if you think about it like a foundation, yeah. The foundation, there's a lot of technical specification because the foundation is the thing that's holding everything up. Your basis here is holding everything up. So we put a lot of work in that basis, and then now the other parts are slightly easier. There's a slight bit of ease now. So I'm moving through them a little bit more quickly. Yeah, right now the hardest part is finding what the original image was. So let me see if I can figure out what the original one was. Caroline, did you go live? I'm not don't think because I'm distracted over here. Did you go live? Nope. All right. I'm only asking. I'm giving you a pass still because you still have some rhythm to get into with the school stuff now. So you got a lot on your plate. So you're like, nope. And you're right back at it tomorrow again. All right, y'all. Let's see if I can figure out. We had this. Oh, this is it, y'all. Oh, this is exciting. This is this one. Look at this. So this is a good one too because these are some curvy bottles here, and we have some super straight basic shape lines here. So let's do some work to analyze where we add curves and all that. So there if you look at the top of this bottle, there is a curve up here. And interestingly, as you're practicing things like bottles, depending on the angle that the photo is taken from, you are seeing, look at you, Caroline, look at you. I like it. I like that. Oh yeah, because Monday's a holiday. Oh, I see. That does suck. And it would have been perfect because it's a day off because of the holiday. You really could have gotten ahead. That's annoying. That's annoying. It's that stuff you have to get used to too, the rhythm of that. Because now you're going to have to like figure out something that works to be able to try to get yourself as close to ahead as possible. Yeah, filmed by Rich. Welcome in. Thank you for joining us. All right, yeah, y'all. So if the photo was taken at more of you can kind of see it here. You see there, if you think about taking something, if I took this photo, I think at a perfect right angle, I would see a slightly different view of the top here. And you can kind of see that it looks a little bit like the photo was taken like lower down. So there's even a, a like looking like a slant here, and you see the top of the bottle curves up. So it's like the photo was taken from a lower angle than straight on or above. If it was taken from slightly above, this up here would have a little bit of that sphere that's supposed to be the opening of the bottle. So it's little detail like that that now I pay attention to and add that in for that next phase. Good morning, Paradoxa NYC. Simone, how are you this morning, my friend? Caroline, you know what I'm going to say. What do we always say? Nothing before it's time, my friend. Because guess what? Yes, you are set in your ways, but you also are breaking your brain to start this whole new phase of things for yourself. So you're not so set in your ways, friend, because you're pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone to start this new phase of something that people typically do at a different point. So I'm just saying, friend, you doing some awesome stuff there. It is awesome. And it's the first week. You'll figure out something that sits well with you. That is not pushing you too far outside your comfort zone, but also allows you to achieve um to achieve the like the to achieve that balance of being able to get ahead as much as you can. You're gonna figure it out. It's week 1. Give yourself a break, friend. Look at all these challenges they trying to throw to you. You are good. You are good. You are doing something super awesome. And how many? Look, you heard you got your countdown to law school. Don't forget that. We're gonna be right here next year, and guess what? Your countdown is going to be a lot shorter, friend. We blink our eyes and open them, and it's a new year. So, Crumb, welcome in. Thank you for joining us. Oh, Simone, you said you're feeling better. Are you still laying down? How long is it supposed to take for you worried about our future, Caroline, when you watch it? Say it. Stop. You worried about the future, Caroline, when you're watching some of these kids in these classes with you? Oh my gosh. Tanya, right? I feel the same way. And y'all, we know all the like philosophy around time and all that stuff, but y'all cannot deny that as you get older, it feels like I feel like I blinked my. I mean, I know a lot of stuff happened. Of course, it's an entire year, but I really do feel like I blinked my eyes and I opened them, and we are in another year again. Simone, how long is it supposed? Are you supposed to like rest? You see the doc on Friday. All right, but pain level and all that stuff is feeling better. All right. Okay, good. So Friday. Oh yeah, it's only Sunday. Well, I'm just saying, take it easy this week, please, so that you can get your full healing going. All right, y'all. So the first thing I'm going to do is just add a little tiny curve right here because, again, because of the angle that we're looking at this bottle, that the photograph was taken at, it's like slightly below the still life. So there's an angle there. I mean, there's a curve there. I'll start putting my straight line in, but I'm not going to go too far down because guess what? I have to address this curve here that's right here. And then there's another curve that's here. So from the edge of our bottle, we're looking at curves all around. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take, because this bottle has so many curves along this line, I'm going to go ahead and take it from down here. In fact, I'm taking it from this baseline here because there's a little bump out right here. It's very slight, y'all. But I want to make sure I'm getting that slight bump out and I'm getting it accurately. So I'm going to start my line here so I get that slight bump out, very slight bump out. So you just take breaks, lay down, nap, and while you scroll. Oh, paradox, I can imagine. And the thing is that it's your eye, you know? No matter what, it's like a little bit of a scary feeling too. EC Garrett, welcome in. Thank you for joining us. Still wanna want for love. Y'all, I did lose my train of thought for a second. I'm going back. This is interesting. Hmm. Sorry, y'all. I'm go streaming on the YT. So I was looking at my chat over there. Then you'll need hopefully only more in 2 to 3 months. I don't know what that means. Did you autocorrect there? All right, y'all. So like I said, I'm going to take my slight curve from here, just so that I hit it at the right place up here. Very slight, y'all. I'm trying not to add too much because then it tapers back in here. Very slight. Y'all, I forgot to erase my line again. So I'm going to do that now since I didn't put too much down because it's easier for you to see if I erase. That's my version of lowering the opacity in if I was drawing digitally. Yeah, because part of it is I went over these blue lines so much because I was showing them on the camera and I wanted to make sure you could see it. And I'm running my mouth while I'm doing it, so I'm going over the lines even more than I normally would. So the lines are a lot darker actually than I would have laid down initially. So I'm going to, this is my version, this is my traditional, this is my analog version of lowering opacity. Ta-da! Opacity lowered. Oh, they took the fluid out to get to the damaged retina and replaced it with oil. And the oil needs to be removed. This is fascinating. You said Shania Twain goes hard. You're right, Be Easy. She does. I even did this a little bit, probably too much. So I'm going to bump that back in. And then there's a curve here. Wait, y'all, I'm like pointing to this thing and it's not there. There's a curve here. that I want to make sure I'm addressing. So I'm going to come a little bit further down and hit that curve. Hit that curve. And then I'm going to make that curve flow into this curve. So now I have a guideline because I have my original laid down simple shapes. And I'm hitting that curve. I'm hitting that curve, y'all. I sound like I'm talking about a dance. This could have been a little, probably a little bit more up this curve. So I'm going to add that. Again, y'all, if you miss this go around is practice. But I'm seeing it right now. So I'm going to make an slight adjustment so that the curve bumps a little bit more there. Be easy. Thank you for getting your heart meet. Kelly, welcome. How are you? Thank you for getting your heart meet, Kelly. I didn't even see you come in. Be easy. You just leveled up. I need to keep this thing up because it takes so long. Congratulations, Be Easy, on the level up, my friend. You've entered a new realm because you are now level 10. You are level 10, so you have entered a new realm. I mean, you were already in the new realm, but you know, officially in TikTok's eyes. All right, y'all. So, Love Niche Art, welcome in. Oh, they left. I was just about to say hello to someone else that came in that I couldn't pronounce right away, but they left. All right, y'all. So now my challenge is let's try to achieve the same curve and stuff on this side. Oh, you know what? Let me do the same thing. I'm going to try to come from here and throw a slight curve up here and then move into this curve here. No, that's my version of a symmetrical drawing there. There we go. That's not so bad, y'all. You see that? You see that? Remember, you saw the harsh shapes that we started with. We add our little curve in there. Now, if I zoom in here, y'all can see that there's a very slight peak of the bottom of that bottle. But interestingly, because of the angle that this photo was taken at from down, there is no curve at the bottom of that bottle. So I am actually going to leave whatever I'm seeing, I'm leaving it here. This is where that would fall. I'm leaving that for right now because there isn't a real curve there. You have to zoom in to see it, but there isn't a real curve there. Oh, Kelly, thank you for the Go Populars. I appreciate you. All right, y'all, let's attack these other shapes. So this one, this is actually will be fun. You see, I have a big old circle here and a little tiny rectangle as my top. I erased it so now y'all can barely see it. There we go. And this is the actual bottle. You see that? So I could have broken this down differently. So this is a good place to show this example. As I'm looking at this, you know how I could have broken this down? We could have done a circle, a triangle, and a rectangle. We could have done more of a sphere, a triangle, and a rectangle. We could have done a circle and a rectangle also address it. But you see what I'm saying? This could have been broken down differently also. I could have put a triangle right here, a rectangle right here, and I could have done a circle on the bottom, or I could have done a sphere on the bottom. We will be looking at things differently, but I'm just saying we could have broken that down shape-wise It didn't have to look like this. It could have been slightly different, but we'd get to the same place. Jasky, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. Thank you for joining. So yeah, what I am going to do now is I'm going to take, same thing, I'm going to take it from this side. Now I'm looking here and my bulk is right here. And it hits, the end of that bulk hits about, it's more than a half of the way up of the full length of the full height here. So I'm saying my bulk probably sits in around here. So if I just drew a slight line there, that's a little bit about half, but that kind of gives me the guide of right above that line is where this tapering in is gonna start. So I'm gonna hold my bulk from here to here. You see how I'm looking at that. Jasky, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Baddies, welcome in. Layla, welcome in. Thank you for joining us. FLM Point Line Creator, welcome in. Thank you for joining. Oh, Jasky, thank you for getting your a heart me and joining our Inky crew in here. I appreciate you. All right, y'all. So I'm going to now, I'm taking it my time. Nobody's rushing here. We're just doing some practice. I'm going in here. I'm starting my taper in here. And I have to hit a curve right here. So I'm thinking about that already. I got to move that curve in here. There we go. Is this super precise? Maybe not. But you get the point. This is practice, y'all. If we were to do this, after we practice this, go through and we do our refined sketches and several more of our basic sketches, if we were to start again, the identification of the shapes part, we would get better at that. The refined, we would get better at that. Y'all know how this works, just like anything else. Practice, progress. We're not looking for perfection, but we are looking for that growth piece. So now I have a shape here that I feel fairly good about. Now I gotta try to replicate that, y'all. But the thing I do want to address up here is that there is a slight flare here. There's a slight flare here, out here. So I do want to catch that flare. This also, there's a curve on each side of this. So that's not a sharp line. But the interesting thing, y'all, is this is a straight line. There's no curve here. Again, the angle this photo was taken at is creating some variance in how some of these that we were doing before, the angle was slightly from the top. So we were able to see some openings of these vessels. This one, there's no opening in either any of the vessels. In fact, this top one had a curve at the top. So I'm assuming, based on how this looks, it looks like the person might have been slightly lower down. They might have been slightly lower down from where, like, they took it from a lower down angle of that table. That's kind of what it looks like. Not super low, but they weren't straight on or they weren't above. So I'm dropping on a straight line here because this is a straight line. Yeah, this is a straight line here. So you hear what I'm saying about where the angle of the photo was taken. So that's like future for us. But if you think about it, just like we think about in drawing, we're thinking about at some point when we're doing like light and shadow and those things, we're going to think about the angle and the direction the light is coming in. So based on the object, where does the light hit? Same thing with the angle that the shot was taken from. So I'm now going to try to replicate I'm going to try to replicate this over here. See if I can get myself sort of symmetrical goings on there. It wasn't too hard because guess what? I already had my baseline outline of this. Is it perfect, y'all? We're not working on perfection. We're working on practice to make progress. So down here now, y'all, there is a slight curve here, very slight. So I'm not going to leave this as a flat line because that's not what's happening. Very slight. Oh, y'all, it's so slight. All right. Let me erase this little jigabee right here because this doesn't belong. But y'all, you see how we went from a perfect circle? Well, you know what I'm saying. Anna Evans, thank you for the follow. Art Matrix, welcome in. Nast Marek, welcome in. Anna Evans, thank you for the rose. Two, we got our tapers in. We got our curves in. Y'all, I feel good about that. That looks good to me. So we leave that there. So that our next, the 4S is shape, shade, shadow, and shine. Art Matrix coming in. Yeah. Yeah. So Art Matrix, that I love that. The 4S's. We still, yeah, we listen, be clear. This is our secondary refinement, but we are still on shape. We didn't get to shading, adding value to create any kind of form, that kind of thing. But you see that shine part, y'all? Look at all of this. These are some shiny vessels, y'all. So we'll address those. But I love that Art Matrix. Shape, shade, shadow, and shine, y'all. We're still on shape, y'all. This is a long game we're in. Okay? This is a long game we're in. That's it's work, but it's a long game. UG Tadori Lover. I might have butchered that, so please, please, please correct me. But welcome in. Thank you for joining us. All right, y'all. So now let's get to this baby over here. We can see that this is not a straight up and down here. There's some taper here. And because I had done this as a straight up and down rectangle, we'll do the same thing. We'll address the taper. So I'm going to start from around here. There's some detail that's hidden in the shadows here. I'm making a little bit of assumption here just to be able to guide my lines. But at this point, we've practiced so many vessels that I can make some assumption and guide the lines from there. But I'm going to do this. Y'all, I'm just making sure. All right. The baseline of this is slightly up from this one, which, yeah, I think I have it addressed here. So now I'm going to start that taper, and right at this juncture here, where we had laid down a trapezoid for here, is where my curve is going to happen. So a little bit of taper in. This line is going to taper in a little bit. And then I'm going to start seeing a curve right here. And I'm following that line, and there's another curve happening right here. And this is a fairly long neck here. But you see what I'm saying there? We have a little taper, we have our little curve, we move into another curve. Happy Sunday, Maximalist. Oh, our Urban Eye Candy. Listen to me. I'm here every morning, 9 a.m. So if you want to participate, feel free to come in, my friend. I'm here at 9 a.m. Eastern every morning. Every morning. So whenever you feel like it, feel free. Maximalist, how are you? Happy Sunday. Oh, thank you, Urban Eye Candy. I appreciate you, friend. I will see you maybe I don't even know if we have homeroom now, if it's going on, but I will be there after if it is. See you later, friend. Oh, I'll see you this evening, probably. Right? I'm good, Maximalist. You know how I am. Sometimes in the morning I have to warm up. I was not warmed up for a good 45 minutes in the beginning, but I think I'm warm. I'm pretty warm. I'm pretty warm right now, literally and figuratively. Cause I'm sorry, y'all. I know that it's not warm where you all are, but it's Trisha T. Trisha, I owe you some response, my friend. I saw and then I saw right before I was like, oh wait a minute, what's going on? I'm delayed here. Um, all right, y'all. So now we did that little I sure do. I was like, oh, this was a long time ago. I owe her a response. So we got this here. The thing that I need to address here, y'all, is you see that flare up? I need to get that. Similar to the others, there's a slight flare on this that I want to make sure I'm getting. And just like the smaller bottle, this line is straight across. So it looks to me like the person was right about eye level with the smaller bottles when they took the photo. And this bottle, because it's significantly higher up, had this slight curve at the top there. So yeah, maximalist. I don't mind giving myself the time, and y'all don't give me a hard time about it. So I'm good. I'm good. So all right, I'm getting that little slight flare up here, my straight across curve, and then I'm now going to try to replicate my curved lines over here. Yeah, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start here so that I'm actually going to address this curve that's here and do my taper. That's another thing, y'all. Feel free to do this the way that works. You see, I did half of that line and then I came to this bottom because I felt like that would be easier for me to achieve the symmetry of the curve here. There we go. That feels better to me. I am going to take a little bit of bulk off this curve because it's not, if you look at it here, it's a straight line, but it's more of a taper than bulk, like a bulk of a curve. So I'm taking that off a little bit. There is a curve right here that I will leave. And then y'all, again, it's not a straight line, but it is a very slight curve. So I'm going to address that as a very slight curve. Just slightly below the straight line. Like that, a little bit. Even that might be too curved. But y'all, look here. Look at our sharp lines and look where we ended up. Not bad, y'all. Not bad. I need to look at my time. Guess what, y'all? That's 2 hours. And we ended, I feel good. Yeah, we got a lot done today. We finished this. Oh, that finished yesterday. We finished this one. I did this one. I did this one. I'm proud. I am proud of this work. Oh, thank you, Trisha T. I appreciate that. And y'all, I am even getting better at this practice. Um, this was one of y'all are here with me every day. Every time I keep saying it, I had like a specific set of things I was trying to achieve by going back to basics, and this opened up a whole new world of different things. But I'm kind of proud of the the consistency with the practice. I'm proud of what I've been able to share. I'm proud of where this is going. And And like I said, I'm very proud that I was able to sharpen this pencil down all the way because I've been actually practicing with it for this extended period of time. So, y'all, on that note, I'm super excited, but I am also very hungry. So, we've been here for 2 hours. You know how much I appreciate y'all. Thank you for being here. I need to come up with a closing line. You know, Trisha T, you have a closing line. I need to come up with a closing goodbye, like a statement. Um, for y'all. Wendes, welcome in. Tanya, right? We go through enough of this red. Cause you know I sharpen it every 5 seconds because I like when that tip is really sharp. This little blue here is nubbing already. Once we get around, if we can bring this down, it probably won't go down as much as the blue because I'm putting less lines down now. But yeah, Tanya, I'm proud of this. No, y'all, sometimes must be like, she's a lunatic, but you get it. Y'all get what I'm saying. Anyway, I'm gonna think about one, Trisha. I will think about one to figure out a goodbye for us. Anyway, thank you all for being here. I appreciate you so much. Have a fabulous day. Get rest where you can. Do the things you enjoy where you can. And take care of yourself. Today, it's a badge of honor. Yeah, it is. It is, Tanya. Who thought we would have been so philosophical? Oh Lord, Trisha T. Well, let me not say that. That while it's snowing, when the snow falls and stops falling, it's so beautiful to look at. Photos, videos are also great. It's when you have to start shoveling and stuff that is not so delightful. So I'm sorry you're gonna have to deal with that at some point. But for now, just revel in the beauty of it, right? All right, y'all. Take care. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you if you can join me bright and early tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Eastern again. Take care.